If you're wanting to self-publish audiobooks through audiobook creation exchanges, non-exclusive distribution rights, then you may want to watch today's video, so make sure you stay tuned. This is Self-Publishing with Dale, where you learn to publish books that sell and build an unstoppable author brand. If you want to learn more about writing, publishing, and building your author platform, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn the bell notification on so that way you don't miss a single video. Stick around to the end because actually I'm going to hook you up with a free audiobook course that's going to get you started out if you haven't already started. It's going to give you some of the best practices on how to publish your audiobook and optimize it for discoverability. Before we jump into things, I think it's important that we kind of review what is ACX, aka Audiobook Creation Exchange. Well, it is an Amazon-owned company that actually feeds out to 3 different avenues. It goes over to Audible, which is Amazon-owned. It goes to Amazon, and then it goes to Apple iTunes. Now, these 3 avenues are really awesome. In fact, you'll find that the lion's share of audiobook profits comes from Audible right now, but don't sleep on the other options. In fact, millions of dollars are being had elsewhere. And if you really just limit yourself over on ACX with their exclusive agreement, you could be missing out quite a bit. If you go exclusive, you're limiting yourself to those 3 platforms only. And if you're an indie author that's wanting to reach a wider audience, then you may want to consider non-exclusive. Yes, you won't get the promotional codes through ACX. Yes, you'll lose 15% of your royalties. So you get 40% if you're exclusive. You get 25% if you're non-exclusive. But think about all the opportunities you can have elsewhere. So where else can you publish your audiobook if you go for non-exclusive distribution rights over on ACX? First and foremost, this is going to come shocking to a lot of people, but there are still tens of millions of dollars being spent on audiobooks on CD. And believe it or not, Amazon actually has a platform called Amazon's Media on Demand where you can produce audiobooks on CD. So when you use that non-exclusive agreement with ACX, you can then take that over and put it onto CD. If you want an actual video tutorial on that, let me know inside the comments down below, and I'll accommodate you best I can. And then there's video. Well, we can take your audiobook narration and put it over top of, say, a slideshow or some type of graphics that involve the book. Or if you're, say, for instance, doing a children's book, you can always just have the children's book go from one page to the next as the narrator goes through the book. Now, one very simple avenue you can break ground on is YouTube. You're probably saying, but Dale, how am I going to make money that way? Well, this might be one of the opportunities that you can take advantage of, that you can possibly get enough watch time hours and subscribers on YouTube that you end up getting into the YouTube Partner Program, and then you're paid through AdSense. And or you can also think about using ACX's bounty program, put a call to action inside your description so that way it sends people out to get your book for free when they get a free 30-day trial of Audible. And of course you get $75 for that, which is pretty freaking cool. Now there's another option that you probably should look at. It's Amazon Prime Video Direct. It works somewhat like YouTube, but you don't need to worry about a YouTube partner program like what you do over on Amazon Prime Video Direct. You would do the same thing for producing the video, but the only thing is you're going to make sure that you have some art that's going to go along to your book. So you're just going to probably go to your original graphic designer, whoever did that, and give them the specs that Prime Video Direct gives you so you can get the art all dialed in. And the next thing is you're going to need closed captioning. I've done closed captioning many times before with rev.com. In fact, if you go to dalelinks.com/rev, you can get $10 off your first order, which would actually take advantage of about 10 minutes. So if you've got an audiobook, say for instance 10 minutes or less, it could end up being free for you getting the captioning over on Prime Video Direct. I'm not going to go too in depth about Prime Video Direct, but all that to say that you're getting paid per watched hour anytime someone's watching your audiobook, in this instance watching slash listening, then you'll get paid for it. So that's kind of a nice little win-win for you. Now there's other video platforms, but I'm not going to go too in depth about it. I think you can kind of use your imagination. In fact, I'd love to hear what your recommendations would be for video. And then there's aggregate audiobook publishing. Now, to explain what aggregate publishing is, it means that you're going to one platform that's going to send out your publication to numerous platforms on your behalf. In exchange, they're typically going to take a small percentage of the net profits. Now, I've actually talked a little bit about Findaway Voices, and I'm going to circle back around to this because I'm going to show you how to utilize them in a screen share. But there's also another avenue that's called Authors Direct. Now, I'm just going to say full disclosure, I've yet to break ground on Authors Direct. I've heard some good things about the platform, but nonetheless, it's just to kind of let you know that there are aggregate audiobook publishers, and there's more and more popping up. I would actually recommend to you that you can take a look at fully vetted audiobook publishing platforms when you visit the Alliance of Independent Authors Watchdog Services list. Head over to dalelinks.com/watchdog so you can see a full list. Just type in audiobook and it'll pull up some of the avenues that you can look into. The nice thing is you go non-exclusive, it's not forever. You can always just go back to the comforts of being exclusive if you choose to be, just reaching out to support@acx.com if you need some more details. But in this particular instance, I'd already made this book that I'm going to share with you non-exclusive for the sake of uploading it over to other platforms. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that in Findaway Voices. Let's take it away. Okay, before we jump into everything, I think it's important to note that if you have not uploaded a book before an audiobook creation exchange, I have a full tutorial, in fact, a free online course you can take a look at over at diypublishing.biz/free. You go get enrolled, you're going to learn about ebook and print book production, but the most important thing is you're going to learn a little bit of the process of uploading audiobooks to Audiobook Creation Exchange. And part of that process, you're going to come up to get an option of exclusive or non-exclusive. So I'm just going to skip forward and just kind of show you what it is that when you're done having non-exclusive, what you're able to utilize then. So my narrator's already finished the gig. It's already live in the store. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our projects. So I'm logged into my account. I select the projects, pick completed projects, select the project that you want. You're going to just choose the title, then go to produce audiobook. You're going to scroll on down. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download each one of these. And you want to make sure that hopefully your narrator had already named them an appropriate name, so that way you're able to kind of keep them in order. I know that my narrator, Anthony Fleischmann Jr., did a fantastic job at that. So all I need to do is hit download. So we just hit download, make sure it goes into the right folder. So we're going to select the proper folder. And it's going to be a rinse and repeat process. So we're just going to go ahead and just keep downloading it. Now, if you've got a longer book, it's going to probably take a little while. But for something like this that's a little shorter, it's going to probably just take me a few minutes. So we're going to fast forward. Okay, because this book was done through Audiobook Creation Exchange, there's the 15-minute checkpoint audio file. We won't need this one at all. That's just kind of that milepost when it comes to getting the gig kind of going over an Audiobook Creation Exchange. And we're not going to need this on other platforms. It's just not necessary. So let's go on over to Findaway Voices and get logged in. And when you do, we're going to go ahead and set up a new project. Sell existing audiobook because it's already up and going. And hit next. Now let's go ahead and put the name of the book here. Now let's go ahead and fill in the rest of the metadata here. When you're all set, make sure you hit Save Changes. Now, if it's abridged or unabridged, you'll want to select here. Most times, I'm just uploading unabridged. And then we're going to select the language and put it as English. Now, if it's got any awards, you want to, of course, put this here. This particular publication, I haven't had any awards. Let's go ahead and hit Save Changes. Now let's go ahead and select the classification. Mine's fiction. And it's preschool to kindergarten. Now we're going to go ahead and select the primary BISACs. This is going to be the categories we want our book to be listed in. I'd recommend go ahead and download a list of the BISAC codes so that way you can just easily type it out. If you already kind of know what you're going to be shooting for, you can always just type it in here and it'll start to autofill. We're going to hit Save Changes. If you have any ISBN that is going to be attached to this is where you're going to want to list it here. Same thing goes if you have the ebook or the print book. This is kind of a way that they'll get it to, if you have, like say for instance, you've distributed your book through Draft to Digital and it's available in the library system, they're going to kind of keep these things together inside the library system. But I don't have anything I'm going to put here, so we're just going to keep moving forward. We can save changes. Has this audiobook ever been available for purchase on any platform before? And I will say yes. When did your audiobook first become available for sale? You should be able to go back to ACX and see when it was available over on the metadata here. You will see it has on sale date up here in the top right hand corner. So this was available on September 4th. So we're going to go ahead and put that down here. When would you like your title to be available through Findaway Voices? We're just going to go ahead and say right away. Save changes. Source copyright year. So in this instance, since there was a copyright that was already filed back in 2016 for this publication, that's what I'm going to put in here. We're going to put the copyright owner here. And for the copyright year, since we did on the audio just this year, we're going to go ahead and put in this year. And again, putting in the copyright owner. Save changes. Let's scroll on down. And when it comes to the retail price, unlike Audiobook Creation Exchange, you actually have some control on what you're going to price your audiobook at. You don't want to go too berserk, but I would recommend that you do a little bit of due diligence and see what other audiobooks are doing within your niche. How much are they pricing it? Because you don't want to go too far above, but then again, you don't want to price yourself too far below. I found $3.99 was good for me. And then when it comes to setting your library list price, they recommend 2 to 3 times the amount of your retail list price. The reason is when they purchase this, they're going to be lending it out to numerous people. Now, this isn't applicable to all library distribution options when it comes to Findaway Voices. It's just some of them that are purchasing it outright so they have it inside their catalog permanently. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot for $7.99. We're going to hit Save Changes, right? And then let's save all changes. Now that we're all set, we're going to scroll back up and let's go ahead and drop in the cover art. Now, bearing in mind that your original artwork that might have been from ACX might have been 2400 by 2400, you're going to need to make sure that it goes up to 3000 by 3000. And when it comes to resizing it, just go back to your graphic designer, or you can just simply just Google up how to resize. I would highly discourage you from stretching an ebook to fit those dimensions because it's going to be extremely pixelated. So if you have your cover art at 3000 by 3000, just go ahead and click the plus symbol, search for your cover, and hit open. Give it just a moment. It's going to take a second to process. Okay, once it's in place, obviously we're going to want to make sure that we go ahead and hit Save Changes, and we can always just scroll down here and hit Save All Changes to make sure everything is set. Once it is set, we're going to go into Distribution. Now, there's these two options, Standard Distribution and Voices Plus. Voices Plus is an exclusivity program for Findaway Voices. I've actually discussed this in previous videos, just to kind of let you know that you have to be exclusive in order to use that specific option. So Standard Distribution is going to be for me, since I'm going to leave my audiobook up on the ACX platform. Speaking of, we're going to need to make sure we change some of our distribution because they have 41 partners, and of those partners, Audible and Amazon is one of them, and we want to make sure there's no duplicate publishing heading towards those avenues. Don't worry about Apple. You're actually allowed to distribute there. They actually will cancel out the Apple distribution by way of ACX, and you're actually going to get more earnings for Apple by way of Findaway Voices. We're going to go ahead and scroll on down, view the detailed list, and there's Audible and Amazon. We'll deselect that. And we're going to leave everything else. Feel free to take a look at each one of these options and see if it's a good fit for you. We're going to confirm the selections. Now it's all set, and you'll see Audible's grayed out here. We're going to go into the audio, and now it's time for us to upload our files. It's pretty self-explanatory. So the things that you had put in place over in ACX, all you have to do is just upload them into the necessary spots. So like your opening credits, your front matter, things like the body matter, and of course any kind of things that you're going to put in back matter. It's all pretty intuitive, and if for some reason you're getting a little lost, reach out to your audiobook narrator and they might be able to give you a little bit of guidance on this. Left click on the little plus symbol, and you're going to go ahead and drop it on in. If you have to, you can always pause and just press play to hear the audio. It's a good idea, as soon as you have everything uploaded, double check that you have everything in the order it needs to be. You may have to put on some headphones and just go to make sure that each one of the files are what they should be and in the place that they need to be. Once you're all set, scroll on down and click Submit Audio Files. And you can always just read it in here. Your audio is locked in, pretty much saying it's not available for sale yet. It's going to go through their team. They're going to make sure that your audio files are in order, it sounds good, it passes their specs. They are really devoted to making sure your audiobook sounds great and it's readily available for the listening audience. We're going to click Continue to Final Review and Submission. We have one last time we're going to go ahead and review through. Make sure you double check and read the metadata. Make sure it's all what you want it to be before you move forward. I'm pretty happy with it, so I'm going to hit Submit for Publishing. And it says, congratulations, you just submitted your title. It'll tell you exactly what I just told you, that they're going to pretty much go through everything. They'll be giving you some giveaway codes when everything's set. You get a total of 30. Nice thing is, actually, if you get the Voices Plus program, which I'll talk about that on the channel here very soon, you will get 100 codes for that. But in the meantime, we got 30 giveaway codes, which is more than sufficient. And hey, if you've not published audiobooks before or not used Audiobook Creation Exchange, it might be all Greek to you, but that's okay. I've got a free online course you can go take a look at. Click that link down in the bottom left-hand corner. And also, I've actually got another video where I talk about how you can take exclusive contracts with ACX, move them to non-exclusive, and publish them to places like Findaway Voices. Take a look down there in the next video. I'll see you then.